Hello, friends. We continue our work and course about philosophy of consciousness, and today we will talk about uh, the main question, I think, in sphere of introduction. Um, it is question: is there a novelty uh, of modern philosophy of consciousness? Really, when we talk about all things, what we can talk, we always uh, remember that exists the context and something what was before, historically or real situation, no matter. And today we will talk about historical context and about the problem of novelty, how I have said. Okay, and we divide this question in two parts. It is a question about continuity and correlation between modern philosophy of consciousness and philosophy of 17th, 19th century. Uh, it is historical aspect, and another part, it is part when we will analyze and describe the new statement. Second question, it is question about the is it new statement formulation the problem of consciousness or not? Maybe it is the problem what was before, and we again start search and study this topic. Maybe so. Okay, and the first, before this, I must say about one moment. Of course, when we talk about philosophy of consciousness, we, of course, not talk about the all traditions. We will start only from the one of the modern philosophical tradition, I mean analytical traditions and philosophy. Uh, of course, the not only analytical philosophy try understand and solve this problem, not. Of course, exist another approaches and branch in philosophy who try to talk and search this problem, and we will continue our study and we will talk about these perspective and branches in philosophy. Okay, but first focus, we will start focused on analytical tradition, because today it is, I think, it is one of the main centers in these studies. Okay, first question. When we talk about the modern, we must remember about historical context. And firstly, this problem was formulated in 17th century by Descartes, and this problem will developed by another perspective and by another authors, and we must to try describe this problem in these different perspective and theories. Okay, when we talk about new time, firstly, we know that exists main question. It is like a criteria for measure for definite the main theories of consciousness, philosophy of consciousness, and we know that the main questions of philosophy, it is what the real relation between thinking and being, what really how correlate ideal and material aspects of reality. And we have the main three main answers here. we can say, for example, there are fundamentally different interests. It is only idea, only matter. It is something different, and not exist something common between these. And second step, another view, and we can say one is reduced to another, for example, ideal or matter, no matter. Here we can say that exists third approach, uh, and we can say birth, parts, it is parts of third, something what more essential. Exists something what not ideal, not material, but it is something third, more. Okay, and the fourth approach, it is skepticism, but I think it is not special approach. It is like liquid for thinking. It is the aspect of all theories. It is aspect of all theories what have development inside and can see something essential in another. We'll use the skeptical approach of this theory. That's why only this third. Okay, and in 17th, 19th century, we can find this theory. For example, natural influence. It is inside this theories of distinction. Um, it is approach of Descartes. Pre-established harmony, Leibniz. When we try understand state of exist to the substance like parallel process between these substance not exist correlation like interaction, but correlation by parallels or synchronical process. And Leibniz think that it is the idea of the God can support out these correlation without interaction. Okay, and theory of Malebranche, this correlation by act of will of God. And theories of reduction, here we can see two main positions, and I straight the fourth, materialistic and naturalistic solutions. We will say about these stretches. But firstly, we can reduce materialistic sphere to ideal sphere. Idealistical, yes. And here we see a theory of Berkeley, theological phenomenalism, and it is position one, how material sphere it is effect of and phenomena of my own consciousness. Another position, it is naturalistic solution. It is, and here we can see very famous names who were thinkers of просвещения, да, thinkers of philosophy with materialistical vision, where ideas in consciousness, it is only effects of the function of my brain, of my body. Very famous work, Mettrie, human and machine, like machine. where we describe, not we, but Mettrie describe the whole function of a body of human like a basic cause of mm, creation, my consciousness, and consciousness of another people. Okay, and third, we will continue to talk about the second position in theories of reduction, but third, theories of unity unite. Yes, to these different parts. It is, of course, substantialism of Spinoza. Today we have no task for us talk about these theories more concretely, but it is the only basic descriptions. In Substantialism of Spinoza, we see that the God, it is idea, it is not idea, it is a reality where unite ideals and materialistic aspects. It is only models, it is only aspects, different aspects, but what exists like one in the God. And this third reality, it is the God cause. Okay, when we talk about theories of 17th, 19th century, we can see essential moments. Firstly, I will start not from first moment here, but from second. It is idea of God. Of course, what we can summarize some of previous material, previous theories, it is that idea of God, it is very influential and exists, I think, in all of all these theories. It is idea like an epistemological principle, like a substantial principle. No matter, it is idea what a really very essential moment of all that theories. And that's why I think it is curse. We usually talk about modern, about philosophy of 19th century and 17th, 19th century, like about period where modern approach in scientists, scientific way of understanding reality formulate and create the ground. That's why never that the idea of God exists, we have a dualism like a compromise between scientific approach and its own ground. And this idea, that's why dualism was the dominant theory. And of course, we know that theory of Descartes exists, idea of God, and Leibniz, how I have said, was this idea. And finally, we can say that materialistic approach was only gained strength, and were not dominant. In that period, we see that it is approach only start his own develop his own its own solutions. It is not something what already developed. Now it is only beginning. Okay, that's why we can say that modern philosophy is there of Enlightenment Naturalism, yes, with a reservation, I'm sorry, with a reservation about the break It's very important in the chain succession caused by rival the theological substantialist models. At the end of 19th century, 18 and 19th centuries, I mean theory of Fichte, Schelling, and Hegel, of course, German classical philosophy. Of course, modern philosophy, it is philosophy what continued this tradition, but was brief, was moment where we were absent the development previous ideas and theses, presuppositions, and these break and these empty can show us that modern philosophy, of course, start again. It is not only something what continue previous ideas. It is new approach. It is new start for new searchers in this sphere. It was the first answer to first question. But when we remember about the main question this lecture, I remember you, it is question about novelty. Second question, really, is it exist new statement of the hard problem of consciousness, or we can say more correctly, old problem was what was named like mind-body problem. We will talk about this. Okay, new statement of the problem of consciousness. It is beginning of modern philosophy. Try to talk. When we talk about modern philosophy, we always talk about the hard. I'm sorry, this mistake, but the hard problem of consciousness at the beginning of modern analytical philosophy of consciousness. Firstly, only descriptively. Historically, we can say that the beginning of the modern philosophy of consciousness was taught in conference in Arizona in 1994 by David Chalmers, who distinguish different problem of consciousness. I mean hard problem and easy problem. And of course, when he talked about hard problem, it is special name for a problem was a special issue for philosophers. And when he talked about easy problem, it is problem for scientists. He distinguished sphere for searching and starting. When he talked about easy problem, he means that it is all methods where we can describe process and answer how something exists, how something happen in their, for example, brain. How does the brain process sensory information? How does the brain integrate different types of information? How does the brain use information to control behavior? And etc. It is a difficult question, but it is only examples. It is easy problem. Special problem for cognitive or science. But what the definition of hard problem? One problem. If here we can say that all these methods realized vision from third person, and it is objective approach to searching. When we talk about hard problem, it is not so. Hard problem that cannot be solved by the methods of private science, empirical science, more correctly, particular science, not private. We can solve only when we remember and use intuitive approach. More correctly, we say from first person, vision from first person. We can't solve this and try solve this problem without this vision. It's give us little hint for understanding the ontological statement and role of consciousness in reality and the universe. Consciousness, it is fundamental aspect of reality. That's why we can't reduce the consciousness to materialistic functions, for example, to brain. And hard problem, it is not how, it is question why. This, of course, one of the different formulation, and we will develop this position. We will prefer more concrete formulations. But firstly, this question, it is a question why. The cognitive function of the brain body, for example, brain, yes, accompanied by conscious experience. How it is to be like human or a cat. It is positioned from first person. We can't explain this by another approach. And it is him for it is only short formulation what I have said. Why, how cognitive science, and why it is philosophy, how cognitive science is a problem, hard problem, why. And illustration, what mean the problem. Okay. And secondly, and more conceptually, when we talk about hard problem, and if we know historical context and another, and we already know about these theories because I have said this, we can ask yourself, maybe this new problem, it is not new, but well forgotten old. Maybe hard problem, it is another formulation, the mind-body problem. And in Russian formulation we use психофизическая проблема, psychophysical problem, the same idea. What correlation between these problems? How correlate these problems? And here we must give word the Chalmers. Chalmers believed that, and it is his position, that Cartesian mind-body problem very blurred and had several interrelated but different questions. What it mean? It means that this problem more common. It is problem what include hard problem. For example, when we talk about problem of problem mind-body problem, it is here exists different question. How can the brain be the basis of thinking? Computer metaphor, we remember. how we I will not develop this idea because we will talk about this in our seminars. How the consciousness influence the brain part of the physical world. It is very interesting problem, and we can say that it is derived from answer to another questions. We will talk about this. And of course, two main questions: why the brain can be the basic condition of consciousness as a subjective experience. It is very, very important question, because here we can find difference versus or and we don't know, but it is question about what difference between correlation and causal relationships. It is different phenomena. And why process, and fourth question, why process in the brain body accompanied by consciousness as a subjective experience. For example, phenomenally or phenomenon of Crowley, because you can image absence of these accompaniment. Okay, but here we know that it is have a presupposition about ontological status of consciousness. Okay, here we can see that only third and fourth questions, that is actually the hard problem of consciousness. It is core of the mind-body problem as a series of related questions. In this form, this problem finds novelty. Its novelty only here, not prefer questions. And here it is difference between especially modern philosophy of consciousness and what before the philosophy of consciousness in 17th, 19th century. That's all. Only summarizing items one and first and second. Okay, first question about continuity. Second question about novelty, sorry. And the main idea, very shortly. So, if naturalists of 18th century, 17th, 19th century, more correctly, tried to prove that the consciousness, it is a product of the brain, but the modern philosophers, modern authors already proceed from this thesis, and that that the brain generates consciousness. I mean this, and want to understand why and how it's happened. Why does the brain create conditions for consciousness? Why the functions of the brain accompanied by consciousness? And we can here describe another questions from easy questions of consciousness. The same idea. It is more exact formulation of the problem of consciousness in 17th, 19th century. Okay, that's all. I think it was interesting for you, friends, and more interesting moments we will talk about these moments we will talk in our seminars. Goodbye, friends.